interview with Evelyn Farkas, who is a former Secretary of Defense. She's Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense. And she was specializing in Russia, Ukraine, and Eurasia there. Dr. Evelyn Farkas, interviewed on MSNBC. And it was about why President Obama decided before he left to expand the scope of people who were able to access classified information. And why they wanted to, under the guise of securing documents, securing things before he left. And of course, my view is that they wanted to create a bigger pool so that when you started to zero in on whoever did the leaking, you couldn't zero in on just 3 people. You could zero in on 100 at this point because you've got 3 main suspects in the leaking. You've got Rice, you've got Brennan, you've got Obama, you've got Hillary, but you've got names of people who have access to this information. But by expanding the access to it, you also expand the possible suspects.
That's a really great point.
So that's why why they did it, in my opinion. But anyway, she's interviewed, but listen to what she has to say. This is on the Morning Joe program, okay? Listen to this.
Well, I was urging my former colleagues and frankly speaking, the people on the Hill. It was more actually aimed at telling the Hill people, get as much information as you can, get as much intelligence as you can before President Obama leaves the administration, because I had a fear that somehow that information would disappear with the senior people who left. So it would be hidden away in the bureaucracy, that the Trump folks, if they found out how we knew what we knew about the Trump staff's dealing with Russians, that they would try to compromise those sources and methods.
Pause it for a second. You hear what she's doing, right? She's basically admitting that the Obama administration spied on the Trump transition team.
We would no longer have access to that intelligence. So I became very worried because not enough was coming out into the open, and I knew that there was more. We have very good intelligence on Russia. So then I had talked to some of my former colleagues, and I knew that they were trying to also help get information to the Hill.
All right, so you could say that means that they were spying on the Trump transition team, or you could look at it as Nunes is indicating, that there were intelligence operations that were involving Russia that enveloped certain names in the Trump transition team that should have been kept absolutely secret but were unmasked by somebody. And he says that the intelligence, while perfectly legal, was really routine. It was really, there was nothing special about it, except for the fact that there seemingly, in my opinion, and maybe this will come out, this idea that let's create a spy apparatus in this event to go after Russia, but really what we want to do is we really want to spy on the Trump transition team. But because that's illegal, we get a FISA warrant for Russia. And that allows us to basically pretend we're just targeting Russia when we're really targeting the Trump transition team. And when she says we have a lot of intelligence on Russia, that pretty much tells you that they were zeroing in on Russia. So the idea that President Obama was directly spying on the Trump transition team, I don't think you can deduce from all of her comments there. But you can get this idea that she's talking about how they have a lot of information on the Trump transition team. Now, does that mean that it's evidence that the Trump transition team was in fact colluding with Russia? Well, she would have said that, and she didn't. Adam Schiff would say it, but he didn't, and hasn't been required to. Devin Nunes has gone the farthest in terms of explaining what information he has, and it's clear that at some level there was an intelligence operation that just routinely had also names attached to it that should have been kept secret for obvious reasons because they weren't doing anything wrong. And I love Nunes, though, by the way. He's absolutely refusing to go anywhere.
He's great. He's like, yeah, I'm in it.
You going to resign? Or are you going to recuse yourself? He goes, well, if you can come up with a reason why, I'll do it. But so far, you haven't been able to do that. 969-9797, 866-455-9787.